Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In case you didn't know, my name is Lisa. I am currently losing weight as an obese person, and so far I've lost 75 plus pounds over the last 2 years, and I'm planning on losing more. So if you are subscribed to my channel, then you know I have this series of videos called Fat Reacts. This is where I, as a fat person, react to different aspects of health culture, including the fitness community, the fat acceptance community, as well as popular health and beauty trends. But as a fat person, I tend to gravitate towards reacting to other fat people. And in the process, I sometimes make people a little mad, and then I sometimes end up with these unhinged takes in my comment section. For example, hey, this is such a quirky and cute video. Does the notion that fatness is not correlated to health and the fact that fat individuals often face major medical neglect go over your head? How about the correlation between poverty and access to healthy foods? I scrolled through your channel a little bit, and it seems to me that the notion of accepting that your body does not reflect your morality and your true health problems just goes over your head, which is completely crazy. Do you ever consider people's access to medical support, the cost of healthcare in places like the USA? What do you think about the fact that I've been fat my whole life with severe mental health problems plus physical disabilities that largely impede my ability to exercise or function on a day-to-day basis? Have you ever worked out with a migraine? Have you ever starved yourself because if you try to put anything in your body, it will just reject the food because you're in excruciating pain? Have you crawled out of bed just to get to the bathroom? How do you feel about excessively thin people with a host of health issues? Do you seek to address how thin they are? What if I told you that in spite of all my medical problems, I always had perfect blood work? What if I told you that even at my most physically fit, I was 5'3" and around 245 pounds because I was mostly muscle? But never mind all that. Why does the idea of pushing for body neutrality and liberation bother you? Because it's in your face? It sure bothers me to never find clothes that fit me in stores. Sure bothers me that countries with increasing access to Western media are beginning to have higher disordered eating rates. Oh man, it also really bothers me when I'm devalued in a space simply for being too large and taking up so much room. It bothers me a lot that 50% of girls under the age of 8 worry about being too fat. Also really bothers me that fat people tend to have comorbidities due to socioeconomic factors denying them preventative care. Surely that has nothing to do with the notion that society just thinks of fat people as worthless, lazy, and unwilling to change. Your words, not mine. Definitely has nothing to do with medical neglect fat people face from doctors, but who cares, right? Fat liberation is so in your effing face, and we're just promoting unhealthy lifestyles instead of encouraging people to understand they aren't defined by their size. I've been plus size since I was 13. I was not a thin child post-puberty, and 90% of that has to do with genetics. Have you researched epigenetics? Do you know about how our bodies deal with food scarcity? F it though. Who cares? We're just shoving Marxist propaganda down your throat. Never mind the fact that I have done hours of research, and if you want, I can absolutely link you the papers and articles I'm referencing. But guess what sources you've put in your description and video? Nothing. Smiley face. Wow. Yikes. Now, as somebody who puts videos out on YouTube, I'm quite used to receiving some unhinged, angry takes, especially if you lob any kind of light criticism at a certain plant-based community. But oh, none so as unhinged as this. Honestly, not going to lie, this was my first reaction upon reading this comment.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
But after I stopped laughing, I'm not done laughing yet, but after I stopped laughing, I thought, well gee, this is the perfect opportunity. Break down the abhorrent gaslighting this fat liberation activist is trying to employ here. So yeah, let's jump into this unhinged wall of text and break it down. Hey, this is such a quirky and cute video. Does the notion that fatness is not correlated to health and the fact fat individuals often face major medical neglect go over your head? There is no evidence that fatness is not correlated to health. This is a lie and a narrative pushed by the fat acceptance and fat liberation communities. There is numerous data to support this. I've included the links down below. Now I know what you're going to say. These aren't research articles. These are just links to two of the most prominent medical research institutes in the United States of America. But fortunately for me, the Harvard one actually does include research articles at the bottom of their page, so, I didn't have to do any of that work. You can go check it out for yourself. Moving on, how about the correlation between poverty and access to healthy foods? Food deserts exist, and poverty is a fact in obesity. That's also not what the video you commented on was about. When did I ever say that I don't support healthier food options for Americans? I have talked about how schools provide lunches and breakfasts for students under a certain socioeconomic bracket and how that food is terrible. If I can't put the video up here, it's gonna be down in the description box down below. But as far as I can tell, you're just putting words in my mouth and arguing with the wall at the same time. I scroll through your channel a little bit, and it seems to me that the notion of accepting that your body does not reflect your morality and your true health problems just goes over your head, which is completely crazy. First of all, what is that sentence? Pick a clause. But yeah, I'm glad that you scrolled through my channel a little bit and didn't watch any of the videos where I do discuss my morality around my health and body. My morals involve personal responsibility and self-advocacy in every area of life, including the medical setting. Not taking no for an answer, accepting the fact that I have physical limitations due to my disability, and that I will need help with certain things in my life due to that disability. And how does my body reflect these things? Well, I've lost 75 plus pounds via diet and exercise, but by also using specific accommodations to account for my disability and physical limitations. I have never hidden that. You can check out the video that I did on my 3 diseases here. Do you ever consider people's access to medical support, the cost of healthcare in places like the USA? Yeah, I was on Medicaid for 4 years between 2016 and 2020. During this stint, I was evaluated, diagnosed, and treated for my migraine disorder and hypothyroidism. All costs were covered by Medicaid. Medicaid also covered the costs of my PCOS treatment, as well as the evaluation and tests all needed for my eventual post-Medicaid diagnosis of hypermobile ehlers-danlos syndrome. But Medicaid did cover the costs of the injuries I sustained prior to that diagnosis. Also, if you don't know what an EMG is, it's an extremely painful procedure that they do where they take metal needles and stick them into your muscles and run electricity through it just to see if those muscles will twitch. It's kind of like a screener for ALS, which is something they do. They want to rule it out before they diagnose you with EDS. What do you think about the fact that I've been fat my whole life with severe mental health problems, plus physical disabilities that largely impede my ability to exercise or function on a day-to-day basis? I think if this is truly the case, stranger on the internet, then you are the exception, not the rule. Just because I'm talking about a group of people doesn't mean that includes you. And even then, the Americans with Disabilities Act exists to accommodate your disability, just like it does mine. Have you ever worked out with a migraine? Yes, I have a migraine disorder, which until I was properly treated resulted in 3 to 5 migraines a week. And this lasted for about a decade. This included blurred vision, sometimes the inability to comprehend speech, drooping facial features as if I were having a stroke, numbness and tingling in one half of my body as if I were having a stroke, but I wasn't having a stroke, I was just having a really severe migraine. I would vomit before, during, and after migraines. I would miss work, internships, and even deadlines for assignments, all because of these migraines. And yes, even sometimes I worked out with a migraine because life went on. I couldn't stop doing life because my body was going numb and my head hurt. It sucked. Believe me, I get it. And thank goodness I got treatment for it because now I have about 2 migraines per month and it is way better. Have you ever starved yourself because if you try to put something in your body, it will just reject the food because you're in excruciating pain? Yes, I've had over 50 kidney stones. Anything I put in my body was immediately vomited up, especially if the pain was on my left side. Have you ever crawled out of bed just to get to the bathroom? Yes, once again, I've had over 50 kidney stones. There have been times when I've been stuck on the bathroom floor because I literally couldn't move. I was in so much pain. And I also have that migraine disorder and hypermobile ehlers-danlos syndrome. So yeah, this has been a recurring issue. How do you feel about excessively thin people with a host of health issues? Do you seek to address how thin they are? This channel isn't about the health of thin people. It's about my health. It's about obesity in America and the culture surrounding obesity and fatness. If you want to watch content on thinness, there's probably a channel out there for you. I'm not going to find them for you. You have Google and access to YouTube. It's how you found my channel. What if I told you that in spite of all my medical problems, I always have perfect blood work? Good for you, I guess. There is very little data to support that this will last the older you get. Also, you have complained of so many different health problems in this rant. Does blood work even matter at this point? It kind of makes me question how your blood work is so amazing when you have all these other comorbidities. But regardless of what other health issues you have and how good your blood work is now, this will only be worsened by your obesity. What if I told you that even at my most physically fit, I was 5'3" and around 245 pounds because I was mostly muscle? I talk extensively about this on my channel. I have often said that people who are obese have a crap ton of muscle on them because they are carrying around so much extra weight, that weight being fat. I've also talked about how when I first started my fitness journey, I also had more muscle than fat on my body. More than 50% of my body was muscle. Graphically, Alex, my friend, has his own YouTube channel. He can attest to this. But what was your point by saying this? Are you a bodybuilder? What level of visceral fat did you have in your body? These things matter. But never mind all that. Why does the idea of pushing for body neutrality and liberation bother you? Pushing for body neutrality doesn't really bother me. It just doesn't really apply to me. I didn't really talk about it extensively in that video you commented on because it doesn't matter to me as much. I don't struggle with body image or an ED. That's not how I gained weight. So body neutrality is just not relevant in my case. However, my friend Graphically Alex does have a channel similar to mine and he does talk about body neutrality. So you should probably see what he has to say about it. Now, if you said body positivity, then I would point you to the videos that I did recently talking about body positivity. For example, my Lizzo video. And I've talked about how body positivity is kind of important. Loving yourself is important for your health journey. It's why I did not put Lizzo down in that video for her body positive stances, when it's truly about body positivity. Now, when you conflate body positivity with body liberation or fat liberation, that's where I have a problem. Because somebody being fat is not an immutable characteristic, and lumping it in with race or sexual orientation is frankly offensive. Because it's in your face. I literally say in the video that you commented on that I don't encounter this in real life, only online, where you exist. It sure bothers me to never find clothes that fit me in stores. Torrid carries up to a 6X, and I literally advocate in the video that you commented on for more access and options for plus size clothing. I also do so in this video. Sure bothers me that countries with increasing access to Western media are beginning to have higher disordered eating rates. It's funny that you should say that because I actually did do a video about my time living in Japan and my experience there as a morbidly obese person. It actually included a reaction to Michelle McDaniel's video on EDs and diet culture in Japan. I gave my input and said, yeah, it does kind of suck for women over there. And this includes like low birth rates for a lot of newborns, simply because their mothers are not eating enough. Oh man, it also really bothers me when I'm devalued in a space simply for being too large and taking up so much room. This has literally never happened to me. I don't know what your experience is, but at my heaviest, I was 347 pounds. People gave me respect because I did not accept anything less from them. It bothers me a lot that 50% of girls under the age of 8 worry about being too fat. Yeah, that worries me too. And has nothing to do with the video that you commented on. We can all agree that people with a healthy body fat percentage trying to lose weight is an unhealthy behavior. But it also doesn't mean that if you're a person with an unhealthy fat percentage that you're okay remaining that way. You want to act like these two things are not mutually exclusive, but they are. No amount of 8-year-olds hating their bodies, which is, yes, objectively horrible, will ever make somebody with a high body fat percentage healthy. Also, really bothers me that fat people tend to have comorbidities due to socioeconomic factors denying them preventative care. I was literally jobless and on Medicaid for 4 years. I was able to get health care through the American government during this time. Was it the best? No. Was it accessible? Yes. I even have a friend who is on Medicaid for the first time in his life. I just talked to him last week. He fell on hard times. He and I had a phone conversation. He was like, wow, I had no idea that Medicaid was so great. It covers everything. And I'm like, I know. And he and I even live in different states. And it's like that we're on opposite ends of the country. Surely that has nothing to do with the notion that society just thinks of fat people as worthless and lazy and unwilling to change. If society truly believed this, I would not have been able to get on Medicaid. The government and society would have said I wasn't worth caring for. If society truly believed this, I wouldn't have gotten into graduate school. Because why waste time on a fat person? If society truly believed this, I wouldn't be in my current career field where I'm able to receive accommodations for my disability. And I am fortunately in a position where I can still do that job and lose weight at the same time because I do accommodate my health issues. In fact, I believe it was in this video where I said it was so much easier now to lose weight now that I'm in a better socioeconomic situation. But losing weight in a lower socioeconomic class is possible. You can once again check out my friend, Graphically Alex, who is doing so right now. As for worthless and lazy, I'm not even going to link a video because I literally say, like nearly every other video, that I do not believe that obesity and fatness are due to being lazy or lack of willpower. I have stated that I do not believe there's enough support around helping obese and fat people lose weight. And there's not enough education out there to help them lose weight. However, I do believe in personal responsibility so that no matter what life throws at you, you can advocate for yourself and what accommodations you need to help you along your health journey. Definitely has nothing to do with medical neglect fat people face from doctors, but who cares, right? I have talked extensively about my issues getting help in the healthcare setting. There is a video that I did with Graphically Alex a while back. You can check it out in the description box down below. If I'm able to put it up here, I will. I don't know if I can. But I detailed those issues, including my health issues, and how hard it was for me to get the healthcare that I needed. That being said, I did keep fighting until I did get the help I needed. Fat liberation is so in your effing face, and we're just promoting unhealthy lifestyles instead of encouraging people to understand they aren't defined by their size. One, I don't know what you mean by in my face. You're primarily a TikTok movement as far as I can tell. And so many of your influencers are not surviving their current physical states that I do wonder how long your movement will last. 2, you are promoting unhealthy lifestyles. 3, if fat liberation were actually not defining people by their size, you would be body positivity and I wouldn't even clock your existence. I've been plus size since I was 13. I was not a thin child post-puberty, and 90% of that has to do with genetics. It is extremely disingenuous to state that childhood obesity is 90% due to genetics. Unless you're talking about how up to 90% of the children who are obese have some sort of genetic factor related to their health. And even then, that range is like 47 to 90%. And even so, this continues to be disingenuous because all those studies that state that specifically say that this is due to a complex mix of genetics and environmental factors. What is the environment, you ask? Really crappy food. Usually very processed crappy food. Kids really shouldn't be eating these things, and we need to stop putting them in our school breakfasts and lunches. And I have also been plus size since I was 13 years old, so we also have that in common. Have you researched epigenetics? Do you know how our bodies deal with food scarcity? Yes, I have read into epigenetics. It is an emerging area of research that states, hey, maybe both the environment and genetics working together make up how our genes express themselves. Which is like, we be new. Your environment influences your gene expression. Now, if you don't know what that means certain genes might activate or turn on or start showing themselves in some way because of the environmental issues that you've introduced into your body. As for food scarcity, this is actually something I've talked with my grandmother about at length. When she was starving to death under Nazi rule in Austria, it was World War II, she was forced to steal turnips in the middle of the night to survive. Is that the kind of food scarcity you're talking about? Or are you just using this as a synonym for calorie deficits? Also, that's not why I'm fat. F it though, who cares? We're just shoving Marxist propaganda down your throat. By the way, there was a socialist in my comments. I'll put his comment up here. And he was none too happy that you were including fat propaganda into the socialist cause. Now, he and I may not see eye to eye on our particular economic preferences, but at least we can agree that fat liberation does not fit into any sort of class struggle. And frankly, it kind of feels like you're trying to cuttlefish your way in there. Ew. Never mind the fact that I have done hours of research, and if you want, I can absolutely link you the papers and articles I'm referencing. Yes, please do. Why didn't you in the first place? You had a whole comment section to do so. If you can back up everything you say, go ahead. Show me. Do it. Use this comment section below to demonstrate. But guess what sources you've put in your description video? Nothing. If you want sources on American obesity and what I believe is causing the current health crisis in America, my friend Alex and I started a podcast on the topic. We're doing it very slowly, but very thoroughly researched. But this podcast does include a link to our Substack, which includes all the research articles that we used in making that podcast. If in particular you mean weight loss, calorie deficits, why people are fat, that knowledge is so readily available, you can literally just Google it. But you know what? I'll just include a link for the Mayo Clinic down below for the heck of it. So based on this comment, the tone, the cute quirky mocking, I can only assume this person's Gen Z. Just really fits the bill. And it really is a great example of gaslighting, as this person is acting like I've said things that I didn't actually say, and then trying to phrase things in a way to get me to respond to them and defend that point of view, when it's not even my point of view. In fact, many of my opinions are actually the opposite of what they're saying, as can be shown in all the videos that I've made over the past 2 years. The best thing you can do in situations like this is just to utterly refute the premise. And the premise in this case, at its core, is massive projection. They are trying to stereotype me while being a complete stereotype themselves. To quote graphically Alex, after I read him this comment and we both had a good laugh, he said, "It's a running script of all the talking points. It's almost as if AI took all of Fat Acceptance TikTok and created this comment." Oh, and it's so true. Anyways, I hope at the very least that if you didn't get a laugh at this, you learned a little bit about me and my stance on weight loss and fat acceptance and all these other factors. So what do you think? Let me know down below. Like and subscribe if you're so inclined, and I look forward to reading more Unhinged comments to you in the future. Have a great day. Bye.